to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists, and today we kick off our month-long celebration of Pride, celebrating queer stories in film, whether they are by LGBTQ plus filmmakers or they are stories about people in the community. We are starting with a film about a couple of forbidden lesbian lovers this week with Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It was written and directed for the screen by Celine Sciamma. It was released at the Cannes Film Festival, where it won Best Screenplay on May 19th, 2019. And I'm so very excited to dig into it. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Got to introduce you to a personal favorite of mine this week. I love Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I have for about, I think I watched this for the first time last year. It might have been the year before. But I watched it and I fell in love. How do you feel on the other side of Portrait of a Lady on Fire?
Ooh, this had a whole lot going for it. Just pretty visually to look at. It was just an amazing movie to watch. But then, I don't know, the thing I think I took the most out of it was what it got me to think about. Just all the different areas my mind went to while watching this, all about whether it's love, romance, even art, and music was even a part of, and just like a overall grand scope of just because, you know, limited time, just because you have this time with someone and it will end maybe one day, or I guess no matter what, you know, it will end with whoever you are with one day. It doesn't mean just because it ends one day that it's bad. I don't know. It's beautiful for the time being, and yeah. So and it's just kind of that the whole movie. I feel like I am just with them, kind of experiencing their slow burn, which is awesome. And then finally they give in, and you know it's just that part. Yeah, that's the actual, I think, good juice of watching it is just kind of.
I mean, the last 40 minutes are just some of the most romantic shit you've ever seen in your life, man. I adore it. I think that this movie is, like you said, painstakingly beautiful in every regard. I think that cinematography-wise, it is gorgeous to look at. It has that matte painting feeling, almost shot like a neoclassicist painting from late 1700s France, you know, which is where we are set. It's gorgeous, and I think that the way they decided to shoot this was brilliant. Pretty much nothing but natural lighting. Gorgeous, beautiful imagery. I love whenever we're in the room that Marianne has decided to stay in, and I think like one of the introductory shots is of Sophie, the sort of handmaiden on the premises, like fueling the fire with the logs over there. She's kneeling down in front of it, and you see Marianne looking at her, and there's this really warm, beautiful orange color palette going on from the glow of the fire, but coming in through this window is the splash of blue on the wall that is just like inspired choice. Like, I don't know, like you're adding so much to the frame by doing so little there, and it's genius. And there's so many little choices like that I absolutely adore visually, and I think that it really lends itself to ending up looking like a painting, which is gorgeous.
A paint, like, and then just seeing, like, painting is one of the arts that I think shocks me the most. Like, drawing, I can see how someone can get ultra good at that. Like, it's just pencil and paper, and it's still incredible what people can do at like the top of that. But painting is just like, there's so much more. There's layers. You have to think of what colors to put on first. You have to mix your own colors. You have to to even think of like, oh yes, this light shade just goes right here. Like I don't. It feels like it's a whole different thing to me, and like the seeing her like go through that process of of just kind of adding the colors is one thing, but then what I loved is like the way she looked at the world, or the way she looked at every little detail before she painted it or before she drew, and like analyzing everything of like even her earlobe and how the light hits it, or how yes, I need to have darkness here, or and all of that. And that's like, oh my god, like it kind of reminded me of that Visions, Star Wars Visions episode where the one girl was blind, and I feel like she saw the world through like paint
world via
and everything, and it just is kind of like a whole new perspective on that I I don't see the world as a painter at all, and that was really cool to get that, and just I don't know, an appreciation for art out of this movie that I didn't really think was going to come. I knew I was going to kind of get the romance, and I feel like that was going to be there no matter what. But then this, I don't know, for painting, for music, and then now that I can't believe I didn't think about it, is the movie itself. Like, you're right, it was like a painting the whole time, and I don't know if I had time to appreciate the craft of the movie itself, because I was thinking of everything else.
Everything in it was so beautiful that it's like, I haven't even considered that the reason it's all so beautiful is because of the way they did it. And that's what's beautiful about this movie, especially it was my second viewing. So first time you surrender to the narrative, you just let it wash over you. You do, and second time you still want that a little bit. But I found myself on multiple occasions just awed by the choices made, production wise and writing wise. I think that it's a magnificent screenplay. One of those that you just. It only got better for me, and I think part of that is that I've watched more movies since the last time I saw this, and familiarized myself with a lot more. Art in general. I think that one of my favorite through lines in this is the Orpheus Eurydice myth. I love that sort of pull through, and it's actually one that I brought up in relation to La Chimera.
What?
I don't know if you'll recall that conversation around La Chimera, how he is heading into the underworld trying to save Eurydice. He's trying to go back and get her,
That's crazy.
That's so I think that there's I watched Portrait of a Lady on Fire before I watched La Chimera. So that was like, it wasn't even on my mind whenever I brought that up. But I love the way it turns that myth on its head a little bit. The idea that everything through this movie, I loved your Letterboxd review for it.
Yeah, I kind of went.
But there's one key thing you did. There's one key thing though that you start there with that I don't entirely agree with, which is that you said, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna elaborate on this. I ultimately do agree with everything you said, but you talked about how your favorite stories you thought were the revolutionary stories, but romance is where it's at.
Yeah,
I think this is both.
Ooh.
I think I do think this is a revolutionary story because we are dealing with someone with oppressed people. Two layers of oppression at that. Women.
Yeah.
Women in the late 1700s who aren't able to make their own choices, and on top of that, queer women. Who are not allowed to self-actualize, and they give themselves the chance to do so here. And their love itself is revolutionary. And I do adore the idea that everything through this film is filtered through the female gaze.
Yes.
The men, there's like, obviously the men who row her in on the boat, and then the man who comes to pick her up at the end. So the man's presence is always felt. It's not like it's absolutely absent. And the matriarch of the house, the countess, embodies an internalized patriarchy, who's like decided she's committed her life to this. Yes, she's given in completely. So it's like, this is how things are. This is how things will be. This is what we're going to do. So she's, ironically, the embodiment of the patriarch in this movie is actually a woman. But even that is a brilliant choice to filter it through the female gaze, because you can see the regret on her face whenever she has to say, like whenever Marianne is talking about Eloise and how she, she sees the portrait of herself, her own bridal portrait, and is like, like if only I'd known, and now I do know, and I'm still sending her off a little bit. I think that everything being filtered through the female gaze, and then another layer after that, the painter's, the artist gaze, is incredible.
Yeah, even Marianne had to put some of her paintings up as her father because she's not even allowed to paint, male nudity. Like you can't do that. Which I don't. Right. Is that like it was it was just frowned upon or like
unbecoming?
So yeah,
I think she said she even says like it's tolerated.
Yeah,
that she does it in secret. It's not like it's it.
Yeah, but man, I mean it was crazy, like all of these angles of men oppressing, but like they are barely shown in the movie, and that's but their presence or their feeling is always there, and that's like it's easier to be the guy, and to not actually know this struggle whatsoever, but to feel it and to watch it, I don't know, the whole time, and just it gives me the ick more than anything, it gives me the like, oh man, like for so long, for how like just human history, it's just been not a good track record. But
no,
but
it's and everything is so baked in through the perception of the male gaze that not only is this a revolutionary story, but even the telling of it feels kind of revolutionary. It does feel brand new. It almost doesn't feel like anything you've ever watched before, even though there is the familiarity of romance and forbidden love, and those are stories that go back forever. I think that one of the things that I love the most about this movie is how complicated the character of Eloise is, played expertly by Adele Haenel. She is utterly incredible, and both of them are Nomi Merlant as Marion and Adele Haenel as Eloise. They're just, perfect chemistry, absolutely brilliant together on screen. And I think that the way they're able to get it out of each other is, on-screen chemistry, just 101. It's perfect. And one of my favorite things I learned when I did a little research into the behind the scenes of this is that they never rehearsed together before going into production. Like before they shot, they shot everything. They discovered each other as the characters discovered each other, and I think that that's kind of beautiful.
Wow.
The way that Adele Haenel described it was that, and it's kind of in opposition to what the characters are actually experiencing, which is fascinating. She said she described it as kind of like a sparring match where they like tried to surprise each other. Like they tried to surprise each other. They tried to make it. They tried to get it out of one another, like really, really push each other in a way that I think that the characters they're doing something similar to that, but on a much more reserved level. They are towing the line, knowing they're towing the line, but they don't know if what they're doing is like, they're like, I don't know if you're on the same page as I am, what is this? I got to be a little careful. What are we? Whereas the actors know full well what they are, and they have to act all the way into it. And I think that that's it's kind of a beautiful connection between the characters and the actors there. Man.
And there's just something innate about being in an older time period in a different language, and like I'm having to, I feel like, read their faces a whole lot more than I would if it was spoken in English, which is really weird to think of. Is like when I'm watching a foreign film, I am looking at their faces so much more and like noticing every little, I don't know, kind of just any body language that I can get from it, that I feel like, but I still like, even though I don't understand anything that they're saying, I still feel like I can grab the tone or what I don't know, stuff, but it's weird to think of like I am way more locked in whenever I don't understand at all a word that they're saying, rather than whenever a movie's in English and I don't know, maybe that's because I can just turn my brain off and I understand what's just being said, so I don't have to.
Well, and I do think the not speaking the language, it absolutely affects the way you perceive tone, like, now obviously in the extreme cases, you are able to perceive tone, but there are lines delivered subtly in English that you don't need to see them say it. You can just hear it. In English, you can just hear it and go, oh, that person's sad. You know, like, you don't need to, just the way they said it. When it comes to a different language,
that's true.
A subtle feeling like that is harder to understand when you are foreign, when you are not a native speaker of the language, or you don't even begin to understand the language. So like there are moments whenever in these softer moments, I'm trying to think of a good example. There's, well, you know, like, you know, it's romantic. Let's talk about the scene wherever they do give in. One of the most beautiful scenes in the entire movie. But Marianne goes, "You dreamt of me." And Eloise goes, "No, I thought of you."
Yeah. Oh.
You know, that is automatically romantic. Reading it, seeing it, all of that plays in incredibly well. You do need the added layer of the image of them to understand how triumphant that kind of moment is. It's a reclamation of agency. You know, it's not my subconscious that's speaking to me like, oh, I think you might want this person. No, I know I want this person. I'm actively thinking about this person. You are what I want, is what she's telling her in that moment. Not like, oh, I don't know, it's just kind of a curiosity that's nibbling at the back of my mind. No, it's at the forefront of my every thought. I love that moment. And I think that kind of taking the reins and claiming that power is kind of what their romance is about. And I say that in a really ironic way because, like I said, the film is so filtered through the female gaze that what they're reclaiming is their agency from a patriarchy. But in doing so, their relationship grounds itself in kind of the opposite way a male-driven romance does. Male-driven romances are about winning, conquering, you know, like winning somebody over, making them yours, you know, like you are mine, I earned you, this is how it goes, you know. Whereas this is entirely built on equality and partnership, like true partnership, and almost even sisterhood, which is fascinating because that's why I think Sophie is such an important character here, is that they show that the solidarity extended from Eloise and Marianne to each other is also extended to Sophie, and the romantic feelings are reserved for themselves. Like, the difference between friendship and romance is a line that's thin as fuck, and you basically get to decide where it is. You know, like they don't treat Sophie any differently than they treat each other. You know, they treat her as one of them because they are all the same. And again, that goes back to the revolutionary idea that they are all the same. You know, she's their servant. One of them's a painter. One of them is on their way, is an heiress about to become a countess, you know, in Milan. You know, they do not come from the same classes, but they are treated as equals. And that's why I think this movie prides itself on just equal partnership. Not there's no upper hand, there's no underhand, nothing.
Ploy,
there's no betrayal, you know. The degree of honesty that's on display here is refreshing, you know. It's never, they almost set up a rom-com like trope at the beginning with, and obviously it's not a rom-com, but a rom-com like idea that's like, you have to paint her in secret, she can never know, you know. In a lesser movie, the conflict of the movie is her finding out she's the painter. Yeah, you know, it's her discovering, oh, you've been lying to me. You were a painter this whole time. Why couldn't you be honest with me? And the resolution is them going, oh, I forgive you. That's that. No, that happens like 45 minutes into the movie. And then we turn the story on its head, and the model of the painting becomes the subject of the painting. It becomes an active collaborator in the creation of her own painting. So, and again, the equality on display between the painter and the subject and the partners, it's gorgeous, man. I love every layer here.
Man, we were even talking, was it on the spot? I'm trying to think of when we were talking about this, about how, like, seeing someone that you love is, or maybe this could have just been outside of a podcast.
That was actually entirely off mic. It was off mic, yeah.
But it's like, it is a different image in your head, or versus anyone else. Like, you see the person you love the best, I don't know, or maybe not the best, just in a different way, I feel like. And as she just fell in love, or maybe more just sort of accepted everything, accepted the feelings, like the painting changed. And it was because how kind of Marianne saw Eloise, but then also Eloise was changing herself. Like she was smiling more. She was like, the anger wasn't to the forefront all the time. And like, so it was just, as they were getting stronger and stronger, the painting was getting stronger and stronger. And it was just like,
gorgeous.
Oh my God. Yeah. And
well, and that's one of my favorite moments in the movie, whenever Eloise is like, I see myself in it. I'm upset that I don't see you.
Yeah.
You know, like she viewed it from such an objectivity from the start that she didn't allow herself to get close to Eloise. She didn't allow her. She says there's traditions and there's you know, like again,
rules,
conventions coming back to this late 18th century patriarchal perception. She's thinking of her husband when she paints this. She's not thinking of the way she feels, and them again bringing it out of each other the same way the actors did. It's a really beautiful thing.
Is the painting
go ahead.
Because the husband wants to give it to Eloise before they married, just like the mother got her painting when she'd walked in, or like, is it more?
It's a tradition. It's a bridal portrait. It is for their marriage.
This is just done commonly. This isn't like their family
in this in this society.
Okay.
It's tradition.
So
like they are doing a portrait.
The painting, man, wow. So the painting itself is like still under the male. I don't know. Maybe it's not a male thing, but yeah, I mean, it's like the guy wants. I don't know, or like it's just part of the tradition, part of the system.
Well, and by claiming it as theirs. You know, like, I painted this for you. You painted, like, you worked on it with me. She always has a part of her marriage that the husband won't be able to access. You know, like there's a part of her heart that will forever be inaccessible to this gentleman because it's just not his. It's just not something he's a part of.
It's so wild that like, and I love this movie does a really good job of like showing. Like, there are things that make sense to no one else in the world other than your loved one or your couple or whoever you were with. Like, it doesn't have the same impact. It doesn't have the same resonance whatsoever. And you are the only two who like can understand that sort of thing. And I think like it comes around at the end, page 28, everything like that. But so that like just that's I guess just a smaller example. But I love the idea of just that. For a time in your life, like there is just this, I don't know, it's absolutely overwhelming. It's absolutely overpowering. And then just at some other point, it can, I don't know, it's crazy to think that can swap to another person or like that
right.
overwhelmingness or something isn't like forever. And yeah, just seeing like, this is, if they were to live their life completely free and out of any male, control, whatever, they would probably just run away. I don't know, or like be together or live. I don't know. Like I'm wondering if
I've always dreamt of that.
Yeah.
What, dying? Running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. That was. I really thought she was jumping right there. I mean, yeah. I was very worried. I'm like, oh my God. And then even Sophie like hanging from the bar, having her feet down.
Right.
There was a lot of suicide.
A lot of imagery. Yeah.
And then the white dress. Being seen, she turns around and always sees that image of her. I still don't quite, I don't know. I don't know how to, that's the one part of the movie I don't know how to read quite, is like, she looks and sees it behind her, in that one doorway and, whatever. And but then she sees it as she's leaving.
In real life?
Yes. Yeah. Was that real at the end when she closes the door? Because she wasn't wearing that dress whenever she was running or leaving out. She was still wearing the blue, I don't know, whatever. So, like, she never
she was wearing her wedding dress.
Whenever she left? Oh, her mother had a gift for her.
Yeah, and it was her wedding dress.
I see.
When she hugs her upstairs, she's in that white wedding dress.
She is?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I guess maybe... Oh, it's whenever the mom just tells her, hey, like I have a gift for you, or like no,
Yeah.
come now.
Yeah.
Actually, that's right. And then she changed. Okay, I thought it was
Yeah.
okay. Damn. Okay, I guess that makes a lot more sense because I thought it was still not a real image that she's. I thought she was still seeing the projection or kind of hologram there at the end.
Well, and I do think that that's the foreboding of their departure. You know, like whenever she sees her around every corner, she sees her behind her. You know, turn back.
Yes, duh. Oh my gosh.
By turning back, she's releasing her. You know, she's remembering her in this last moment. It's an image of her that almost defies time.
Yeah.
And I know that's not like in a literal sense. You know, she knows the end. She's seeing the image of her that she sees as the last time not the last time she sees her, but the last time she sees her as her lover.
Yes.
You know, her equal, her partner.
Oh, duh. Like that's like because I'm like, why has she seen it before? Is this like a fear of? For some reason, I thought it was more down the suicide vein, or like still kind of earing towards that. But it's
also the first time you watch it, it's a little freaky.
I thought it was going to be a horror movie for a little bit. Like there
is a little bit of a eerie tone at the beginning of the movie. We're isolated on an island. It's it's a little bit weird. There's a little bit of a weird vibe going on. But I do think that that's purposeful in the kind of the fear of the unknown, the fear of the taboo, the like we're about to do something we're not supposed to do sort of thing. And I think that when it comes to the flashing images of Eloise in her wedding dress appearing rather ghostly, you know, she's illuminated, basically void of any other light, which I'm amazed at their ability to do. I don't know what they're doing there. I want to know what they're doing.
Was that in camera or was that
that's all in camera, and I have no idea how they're doing that.
Whoa.
I have no idea how they're doing that.
Okay.
But
wow. Yeah, it's just Marianne knew. It's like, well, we have this love for now, but you are destined to get married. There's nothing you can do to get out of it. She knows, like, unless she decides to actually run away, whatever. So it's like, this is the end. Even though it's kind of like a, I don't know. We know the fate even before, you know, kind of before, or know the end goal before it even starts. And yeah, she's just. I guess she knows before she sees her in that dress that once she does, it is the end, you know? So it's like the worst thing. It's like, she's like, no, I don't want to.
And it goes back to that Orpheus Eurydice myth there, you know? Whenever she's on her way out the door, she tells her to turn back, you know, like, release me, kind of like a remember me as I was with you. Don't, whenever she says, imagine me happy or unhappy, but don't imagine me guilty.
God.
You know, like this is the life that I have resigned myself to. I've chosen it. You know, and there's a certain freedom in that. You know, like it's not freedom, but there's a claiming it. You know, at least there's that. And I think it's kind of the same thing with why she chose to go to the convent. It kind of speaks to the degree of limits placed on women at the time, that to feel freedom, they joined the nunnery.
Dang. Like, yeah, it's like, I mean, even women today, like, there's still some things that we need to work on today. It's not like,
absolutely.
This is back in the day. But it got me to realize and feel how lucky I am to be able to listen to music whenever I want. Like, I can listen to an orchestra. I can listen to Beethoven. I can listen to Bach. I can listen to Daft Punk. Anyone
listen to Vivaldi.
I want, I can listen to. And like, yes, experiencing an actual symphony or like in person, that's a different feeling. But like in this time where they're living, it's like only the wealthiest of the wealthiest people got to like actually experience that and know what like a music hall or I don't know, just what an orchestra felt like. And that's crazy that like, I don't know, for a long time art felt a lot more closed off to the world. And even, I don't know,
fine art did, you know, because music is not something that's ever been reserved performing wise to the upper class. You know, that's how we got folk music in general across history. Is just we are musical creatures. It's something that happens naturally almost. And I think that I do adore the music in this movie. I love that all of it is non-diegetic. There is no music that we hear that the characters don't. You know, it is all in the movie. And I think that it's a brilliant choice, and it's a huge fucking swing. Because we are in a period piece and we are in a romance film. Those are things that both typically require score. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like,
that's actually insane that I'm feeling what I'm feeling without the music to help it out. Like, and to
exactly.
Holy wow.
It is. It's absolutely, and that's something that from the jump you have to make that choice. It changes how you write the movie. It changes how you conceptualize characters and scenes and everything. That's an early decision to go, none of the music we hear will be outside of the movie. Will exist outside of it, you know?
Man. Wow. Yeah, that, I don't know. Loving, she plays on the little, is that just a piano or like, is that a different? Because
it's called a harpsichord.
Okay, I was going to say, it has that bling, bling, the old timey, the sound, which I don't know, I love. But yeah, the what's the actual song? The beat, but I don't know, or the
Vivaldi song. I can't remember exactly what it's song, but it's by Vivaldi.
But playing, you know, and I'm like, oh, like this is just a cute moment, and like not thinking anything of it, and then like having it come back around at the end, and I'm just like, oh my, like oh legend, and the choice to not even show Marianne's react. You know, we just see what she sees, you know, and like not one cut back on her, like, but she has to be bawling her out. I don't know. I'm assuming like she's just a mess over there too. Or I don't know, maybe she's just actually at peace, or you know, maybe it's like just the biggest smile on her face over there.
I think that's what's interesting. I really appreciate them not showing Marianne too, because I do think it reframes Eloise as the subject. You know, we are seeing her from the painter's gaze again. And this time Marianne doesn't have the privilege of being gazed back at. You know, that's another one of my favorite parts of the movie. Whenever she's like, "When you're looking at me, what do you think I'm looking at?"
Ooh.
You know,
yeah.
And then she turns everything around on her. I love that. And so this is the time that she becomes subject again at the end. And I think this last shot kind of embodies the spirit of the whole entire movie, where where Eloise breaks down into tears, and then she remembers, you know, she remembers it as it was, and she begins to laugh and smile, and there's this bittersweet, like, just because it's gone doesn't negate the fact that it happened, you know, like there's still beauty and solace in the fact that they will always have that, and there's something lovely about longing and desire that makes us vulnerable, it makes us exposed, but what it does is it completely negates solitude. Even in their most lonely moments for the rest of their life, they will never be alone, because they'll know the other is thinking of them. They'll know the other is longing for them, and there's something that's kind of, again, equal in that. Like they've agreed to sit with their pain together. You know, and that's what makes my favorite scene of the movie. I can do a favorite scene, and I can do a favorite line.
There's so many.
Performance, character, shot, fuck that. I don't know how to choose. I don't know how to choose.
Really choose
all of it's
anything,
great.
But I don't know. You can narrow it down to one scene, I guess. Yeah.
I can, and it's just because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not like, this is so easily the best scene. It's just that one that spoke to me. And I feel kind of, embodied the spirit of the movie, and is a rare privilege that a lot of people don't get. They get to mourn the loss of their relationship together.
Dang. Yeah.
And whenever they're laying next to each other and they're telling each other what they'll remember.
Yep.
Oh my God. That just absolutely destroys me. And them, the solace they can take, because that's what I'm speaking to. Whenever it comes back around at the end, that's what she's remembering. You know, she's remembering her smile. She remembers the first time she wanted to kiss her. She and that's what she's discussing in that moment, is everything she's remembering in that last shot. And the idea that she got to talk to her about that, and she got to speak to her and go, here is everything I'll miss, and here is everything that you are to me, and I'll cherish it forever. It's gorgeous. It's
the
magnificent.
painting inside of her head. It's like it's like the initial task that was given. Hey, paint someone without actually knowing them whatsoever. It's like, huh? Like, you want me to just, okay, sure, I'll show you what you see. I'll show you, I can take a, nowadays we can just take a picture or whatever, and that it would just be like, it's more of like a copy of reality. But like, I feel like a painting, or the whole idea of them is like, you just have to get to know the person. The only way to do that is to actually, I don't know, not just look at them from afar, not to, you have to interact, you have to actually interact with them, you have to see them, and yeah, the presence, I feel like she said, Eloise saying like, oh, so I have no presence, I have no soul. I don't think she said soul, but I feel like kind of just
no, but that's kind of
a
the
way
idea.
of and
I'm hollow.
And now that Marianne, yes, she was tasked to make a physical painting, and that does, they're out there, but the more important painting is the memories, inside of each other's heads, the images they have of each other. And yeah,
and that line towards the end, whenever she's like, you can draw that from memory now, can't you? And she's like, yeah. And she goes, well, eventually you'll remember her better than you remember me. Mm-hmm. Like you'll think of her whenever you try to picture me, and she's like, I don't have anything for that. And that scene where she paints herself in the position that she's laying in with the mirror over the vagina and everything. So good. Damn. I think that there's just so much beauty and intimacy in the way that this is shot and acted and everything. I think that there are very few movies that I think depict romantic longing as effectively as this one. And my favorite line of the movie is kind of embodied by that embrace of the longing, which is, do all lovers feel they're inventing something?
Gee. I don't know why. Just being in love or being in the romantic mood just gets you to say the best shit. I don't know. It's it's coming straight from the heart. I feel like there it is. I don't know. There's something there. There is.
Well, and it spoke to something that just fundamentally is what I love about love. We had again the same conversation you were referring to a little bit ago off mic about falling in love and how I'm incredibly grateful for the fact that I found my person and I love her more than anything, and I would never do anything to ever betray her or anything. So like we're on the other side of that a little bit, and there's obviously still so much more to come. I don't want to act like it's all downhill from here. No, not by any means. But the idea that I won't ever feel this invention again. The idea that we've crafted something that's ours. I've reaped the benefits of that creation now. Like we are actively what we've invented, we've built upon. And that's lovely. That's beautiful. But the act of that invention is fundamentally human, I think. Just kind of embracing each other in a way that you feel nobody else has ever done before is, it's beautiful. That's one of the best things about, it is the best thing about falling in love. And it inspired, like last night, something I've been getting into a habit of on Letterboxd is writing poems as reviews instead of actually writing reviews. Which probably,
damn.
And this one's for, a movie we are covering here. So I also put like, if you actually want a fucking review, you can listen to the episode on June 6th. But I started it with the line, do all lovers feel they're inventing something, that they're the first to discover that the sun is no longer in the sky, that their center of gravity now resides outside of themselves, that the ocean's tides which crash are pulled by another, that the world revolves around them. Sparks fly at the touch of bare skin, and flames roar and are fed by the oxygen we breathe into one another. My lifeblood is yours, and yours is mine. Eyes shut to an image permanently seared on my occipital lobe, you, sleeping, on my brain. Intimacy which we birthed. Others have tried, but we created it. Existing out of time, and now out of time. I remember it all. I remember you. Turn around.
Man. That turnaround line that came back around as well. Man, yeah, I don't know, all the polders, and yeah, it is like a I don't know. I've been getting in the plant game, and it's incredibly. I didn't know how hard it was to raise seedlings, or just to start from a seed. And it feels like love it is like you can plant so many seeds. There's so many seeds can be planted, but the success rate, or just the getting to a full plant, or the full, I don't know,
bloom.
The roots are there. When you can finally leave it alone, is kind of, then you're there. You've reached that point. Your roots are solid. You're blooming. You've already bloomed. I don't know, the plant is. The foundation, everything is solidified, sort of thing.
When do we know it's finished?
Yeah, that's a
At
great,
one point we stop.
That's a great question. But damn, that early process, or the seedling, the early goings, you got to baby the shit out of it. It takes your full attention. It takes everything, all the energy, to make sure it doesn't go away. So maybe that's why it is this. It feels like it's more love in a shorter period of time. But then once the plant is fully grown, it feels like there is a whole different kind of appreciation. It's like, no, yeah, that did happen, or like you made it through the hardest part of it, and now it's this beautiful thing I can look at every day. And just that's kind of how I look at my plants now. Or my plants have really changed the game for me, and I love looking after them. But yeah, this I don't know, the idea of this invention, I don't know, or like this.
I love it, and that's what I love about the depiction of their love in this movie, is that they live a lifetime in this couple of weeks. They form a sisterhood and a bond that will never ever be broken. One of my favorite cuts in the movie and favorite scenes in the movie is whenever Eloise can't stop smiling while she's being painted. She's like, Marianne's like, be serious, please, and she can't stop smiling. We zoom in on Eloise's face smiling, and we smash cut to flowers fully bloomed.
Yes,
like she's fully formed. She's like, to speak what you were. She's now ready, kind of. Like there's a possession about her that is now, I don't know, alive. She is reinvigorated in a way, and I think that that's one of my favorite cuts in the movie, is going from a zoom in on her face to flowers fully alive, and I think it's gorgeous. And it's a beautiful scene.
Sophie, she's like is that crochet, or what's that, or what's that called? Whenever just sewing, maybe, I don't know. Is that just sewing?
It's not crochet or sewing. It's
embroidery. Is that embroidery?
Yes, embroidery.
Yeah. So she's just doing the little embroidery thing, making that plant. And then there's another smash cut they make whenever the relationship kind of toils, or they're having an argument, and it cuts, boom, to the flowers, and they're dead and they're withered away. But Sophie is still embroidering it as it was, in the moment that it was beautiful, or so it's like, I don't know, their relationship just kind of like these flowers. It was beautiful at one point, but even, I don't know, you planting these flowers, one day they will no longer be there. Like this day will come no matter what, and it's beautiful that Sophie's kind of encapsulating, or kind of putting this image of the flowers when they were great. I don't know. It's this moment in time that only she knows, because she, I don't know, even feels the plant. Like she even, I don't know, like ran her fingers through it to, I don't know. It was, very personal. So yeah, I loved all this. Those smash cuts were good, but then the pull-throughs, I don't know, there were so many just things that came back that I thought were just little, I don't know, little cuts away from the main storyline just to have a little slow time, or I don't know, just something else. But then it's like this beautiful, I don't know, it is like the whole movie is a painting or a poem, or it is I don't know, to watch it again will be insane, to actually appreciate.
It really is, man. I think that I definitely like this film more than I did the first time, and I was already in love with it. Like I want to watch this again tonight, kind of. Like, that's where I'm at. I want to watch this again, and I want to watch it again and again and again. It's one of those, and I think that there's something so beautifully and oddly meta about it that I didn't get until my second viewing, and it's just the sort of meditation on art and solidarity through art and collaboration in a work of art. You know, like we're depicting this in a movie. And something that Celine Sciamma said in an interview with Criterion about it was, she's like, the position she's in, she is an executive producer, the writer, the director. When it comes to costume design, she heavily dictates the flow of costume design. She might not actually literally design the clothes, but she wrote it for it to be a green dress. That was like, that is what it's going to be. That is how we're going to do it, and then everything else kind of falls into place. Like, so she said when she was writing the movie, something about the position she's in and why movies are as important an art form as any is that when you're writing it, you think of the author's gaze, the author's lens, as, as in literature. When you are thinking about the music that goes into your movie, you become the musician's lens all of a sudden. When you are thinking about shot composition and cinematography, you use the painter's lens. Where do we want the, like, she's like, it's all of these forms of art rolled into one form of art. And I think that that's what makes it as invaluable a piece of culture as any. And kind of seeing the way that is reflected on screen with the painter, and falling in love with the subject, and the partnership formed behind the scenes is as important as the one that's formed on the screen, which is so interesting. I love I love that idea. And that's Adele Heinel and Celine Sciamma have worked together since 2007. Celine Sciamma made a movie called Water Lilies that has Adele Heinel in the lead role. So they have a really long history. And on the other side of that, Nomi Merlant met Celine Sciamma at the casting call for this film. So she's got someone she's uber familiar with and someone she's never met before, and they're motivating each other. They're experiencing something new they're creating something together. She talked about that in relation to the costume department too. She didn't want to get some big name costume designer who had done a bunch of period pieces. She wanted somebody who had never done a period piece, so that they were excited about it. So that it was let's do this. Oh my goodness, I've never got to tackle something like this. And she actually said the first person she cast was the painter, not Nomi Merlant, the woman who is painting the stuff in the movie.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's like, so they would just know from the jump of how to actually capture the characters whenever they, my God, that's insane. And then it's like,
the first person they actually cast was the woman who paints everything.
The actual painter.
Her name's Helene Delmar. Her and Nomi Merlant worked closely to inform her character's perspective.
Dude, that is okay. This movie's actually so much cooler than I thought.
Oh, it's so much. It's incredible, and it's all these things that you never even consider, because we are in an era of neoclassic France when it comes to like one of the artists who I think was undoubtedly an influence on this visual style is Elizabeth de Bruyne. She was I can't remember if I think she was French. A French artist who did portraits. I actually just, when I went to Nelson Atkins just a couple like last week, there was a couple paintings by her that I was like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. Let me see if I'll send it to you right now just to give you an idea of how much she may have informed this style.
Man. And
there's this idea that there we go. We're dealing with a real period, and it's tangible enough that you could go, well, why not make her a real painter? Like, what's stopping us from making this Elizabeth Lebrun, essentially? Lebrun, sorry. And she wanted to create a character from the ground up. She didn't want to She didn't want to create this biopic sort of feel. She wanted it to be, again, a collaborative effort. We're all working together to create something beautiful here together.
Love from the jump. I don't know. Yeah, love. Art created with love and art created with just greed and money and what. There's a clear difference. I don't know. Yeah, you can tell when something was made with love. Oh yeah. Okay. Seeing the. Oh man, it's crazy to think how much art in real life is just credited to a man because their daughter or someone, like how much art is just done by women over time is kind of a scary thought. But yeah, and man, it's like, but who's doing this now? Are people? I feel like there's just so much. I don't know. Is like. So much art that it's so hard to think of people just doing things like I don't know, like there's not like a Mona Lisa that comes out, but I don't know why I'm thinking of like I should be living during a time in which a painting as famous as like the Mona Lisa could come out. But it's like, was the Mona Lisa even famous whenever it was first painted at all? It's like I don't know. So yeah, art is just so
it stands the test of time. Vincent Van Gogh died thinking he was not talented.
Jeez, oh my god.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's now he's regarded as one of, if not the greatest painter of all time. God. And I think that's there's a tragedy and a beauty in that, and I think this kind of embodies that spirit a little bit. There's a and again, it goes back to, you said how many women painted something that we've only ever seen given credit to men for it. How many queer people didn't get to self-actualize because they existed at a time when it was unbecoming. It was a mental illness. It's there's all sorts of stuff there where you're like, when it comes to her older sister, even. Whenever she wrote her last letter to her, she apologized for seemingly no reason, and then she said it's for leaving me her fate. She's sorry that she left her the life she's going to have, and you kind of go, there's this defiance in Eloise that refuses to let them win, whoever they are, and I mean, like the patriarchy, the men, like she'd rather live in defiance than die in defiance, I guess. At least she gets to choose a little bit. I think that there's a beauty in that, and not to say that her older sister didn't choose. She did. Yeah. She ultimately did choose something. And that's why I'm like, there's just so many different lenses you can put on it to go, there's just so much beauty and togetherness in the depiction of women in this movie that I mean, one of the best scenes in the movie is the abortion scene. Oh my god. That's holy devastating and beautiful and empowering and all of it, whenever. Because I haven't seen many abortion scenes in movies. I think that's
it's usually a miscarriage if it's
miscarriage.
It's not like I don't know. I think this might be my first abortion ever in anything,
in a movie or a show.
Like
I've seen a couple. I know
the only thing that I could think of,
and that's not that's stillbirth sort of stuff.
That was no point. I don't know, different feeling there altogether.
Yeah, very different, very different. But that's the thing is, I think I've seen a couple. And all of them have historically been depicted as a low moment.
Yeah.
And isolated and solitary, and you've never felt more alone. And I feel like this is the exact opposite of that. Whenever Marianne tries to look away and, Eloise is like, no, look, like she needs you to look. She needs you to remember. And also, we're going to paint this later, so I need you to look.
Honestly, kind of a crazy move. I'm like, man, honestly, let Sophie sleep. Like, I feel like she had actually a rough day. Like, I mean, even though it wasn't...
Right,
like,
no, but there's the beauty in the idea that she's... again,
I'm like,
the idea that you can take solace and
So
create
it's not
something
like traumatizing over time, like to make it like
No.
comfortable right away.
Yes,
is like
like
maybe
we
like
are, we're in this together. You know, you have these two people who are with you, and you will always remember it as a thing we did. You know, it wasn't you. You weren't alone. You didn't you were surrounded by people who do care about you. And one of the finest touches in all of that is the baby comforting her on the bed. Is just.
My God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then she like starts to cry, but it's not like a painful, it's just like a
no,
holy, beautiful
it's just kind of,
cry.
yeah.
It's just like not the right time. She's like,
and it embodies exactly what I historically perceive the concept of abortion to be like. You know, like, I don't imagine anybody goes into an abortion super gung-ho. You know, like it's not, and I'm not saying that like, oh, you should feel guilt. No, I don't care. I don't like you do whatever you need to. It's your choice. Absolutely. But there's always going to be an air of solemnity to it for me that no matter what, there's this lingering, a literal embodiment of what could have been forever. You know, that you are making a choice that fundamentally does alter the course of your life.
Yep.
Permanently. So there's automatically going to be something in that decision where you know you've made a life-changing decision. Maybe it's a life-changing decision to maintain the life you're living. But the idea that there could have been something else. Yeah. And just the idea that cuz she like it's not like anybody made her do this. You know, it's not like she, you know, do you want to be pregnant? No, not particularly. Do you want a baby? No, not particularly. You know, but there's still this air of sadness to it that's like, who knows what could have been? And we're just kind of, and I love the idea that they don't let her go through that alone. You know, like they're there for her, and they want her, like whenever they wake up in the morning and she's like, do you not want to come anymore? And she's like, no, I'm coming. You know, like, we'll be there. It's okay. You know, like we got you, you know, but she can't blame them one bit if they don't. I don't know. That's just it's such a difficult subject to breach in a movie, and to do it with such poignancy and careful consideration and love and camaraderie. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful scenes in the movie, man.
Yeah. It's like a thing, in reality that you wish never had to happen, but people prune plants, I don't know. It's like it's a sad reality of the world we live in, that sometimes it's better to have something not grow into a world that would be worse for it, or it's just not the time for it to be there. So yeah, it's much easier.
Even if not, if it is just like I do not want a child, you know? You know, go for it. It's why I'm like, it's so fascinating to depict something like, because it was that simple. You know, like she was like, I was just waiting for the lady to leave before I dealt with it.
She's
you know, like
and,
you know, like but then what they do when she says that is she goes, no, let's tell Heloise and we'll deal with this together. Like you don't have to go through this alone. And I just that idea that like, no, you're not alone. You know, and this is one of the few movies that depicts that that idea without expressly going, you're not alone, which is, I'm a sucker for that line. I love whenever you're not alone is dropped in a movie, but that is the spirit of this movie. They are almost trying to prevent Eloise's sister's fate from happening to anybody else.
That's
you know,
true.
like they don't want anybody to feel the solitude that might end up leading to suicide.
Like abortions nowadays, I feel like is so isolating. It is like you have to make that decision on your own. You probably don't tell anybody. It's like, you'd want to hide it more than anything. But like it would make it much, much better if you had people around you to help you through it and everything.
Well, and the depictions I have seen of abortion in a modern context, and you know, there's no this is what it's probably actually like, because you go to a clinic and you get it done. It's cold, lighting, steel instruments, you know, all that stuff. And there's it's incredibly isolating from the outset. Like looking at it, it's like there is no warmth here at all.
Yeah.
It's distant, and it almost feels cold. Whereas I love the way that they depict this with, you know, just the light of a fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
It's warm, and again, you're surrounded by people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like just people, and I do adore that. A fun fact, an interesting fact about this is that obviously, you know, that is an infant, so not particularly good at taking direction.
But I mean,
this is
couldn't
perfect.
Could not have acted.
She said,
I don't know. Like,
yeah, Celine Sciamma said it's one of those things that whenever it happens, you just thank your lucky stars that like anything you got anything as beautiful as that. And
that was unreal. I don't know. Like, yeah,
the other little girl that was on the bed with her was actually the smallest kid's sister.
okay.
And their parents they worked on the set, like they were people on the production crew. So like she talked about how like the most important thing when working with children is just to, you know, make them feel comfortable. You know, they shouldn't be working. And at his age, he doesn't even know he's working.
But goddamn, did he give a lasting scene? I hope this homie's let's see, 20. Oh no, he's still very, very young.
Yeah, be very, very young.
Probably does
5, 6,
but
7.
Man, I hope whenever he grows up, he can be like, no, I'm proud. I didn't know what I was doing.
I
but
did
I'm
that
proud
shit.
of that scene. That's
anchored that scene, man. Like that's something that the scene, I think it would play very differently if you don't have that moment. And I think that
yeah, I think that's the one important thing about is like if you go into one gung ho about it and be like, yeah, I can't wait to do this. That might be a little weird. Like that might be the only time where it's like, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's that's the only thing. But no, there was no sense of like it was
a weighty decision no matter what, especially in the late 1700s when, you know, like this can't have been a safe procedure.
Yeah,
you know, it couldn't have been a.
I don't know the little things they tried before, like just the tea or like and
do
then
it,
hanging. I didn't know. Like I didn't even know that was something. You know, it's crazy just to
the way they're making her run back and forth on the beach and stuff, and again another extension of that solidarity whenever Sophie collapses and Eloise goes over and picks her up. You know, is like you know, like I love that shot. And gosh, I adore it. It's one of those things that, and like I adore it as a man.
Oh, dude,
I can't even fucking fathom being able to watch this as a woman. That must be fucking awesome, man. Like there, you know, there's probably also a certain bittersweetness to it that I can't fathom either. That's just kind of like this is a reality, you know, like this
And not to speak for you, but I feel like we're closer to women than most men are. So
so
I feel
I know that for sure.
We are not there. There is a different experience that would be had entirely. But as far
definitely
as the
more
normal,
open to our femininity than the average fellow, I would say.
Like if I show this to my brother, he's like, "Why did you show this to me?" Like he'd be like, "What is this? I don't know. This is the most boring movie I've ever watched." And nothing against him, you know. It's just no.
Like there's some things that aren't accessible for people, and I'm fully. My mom wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying. Like that's and you know that's because it's French, but that it has nothing to do with the subject matter. But like I think that there's something to the idea that like you know what I want for everybody is just to expand horizons. I want everybody to understand that like
there's always
part of the reason I'm more open to my femininity than a lot of men is because I do love I love watching movies like this. I love taking in art that informs me about the feelings and thoughts and experiences of other people that I won't get otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to close myself off from women's stories or trans people's stories. You know, like I want to see what you're feeling. I want to do everything I can because I can be as sympathetic and empathetic as possible. I can tell you, oh, I'm here for you. Oh, it gets better. I'm here for you. But until there's just no way for me to know until I do. You know, like that's just kind of how it is. And art, I think, is as close a chance as we're ever going to get to accessing somebody else's life.
And who's to say
and I
it's
think
even really are like feminine, that we're just, it's really more just like because
human.
We say it's
Yeah.
feminine. I feel like, it's like it's just become a feminine thing to be in touch with your feelings and art and just to even say some of these things. So it is feel like I feel like my favorite label just to put on me is just a lover. I don't know, or a human lover. That is I don't know. No other labels needed. I feel like there's always more room for love in any case, anywhere. And yeah, it's like that is at least my I don't know. I'm trying to do that and expand my horizons even more. And this is very, very I don't know, very. It expanded them on many different fronts here, with just art in general, music. Now thinking of how the movie was crafted, yeah, very, very meta. I do really like that, and rewatches will be great on that. But even just the romantic side, and then now the rebellious. I didn't even think of that that part of the movie, but 100% there.
Well, and that's the thing. Whenever it comes to queer stories, they're almost always inherently revolutionary. Like it's because of the implied oppression that comes with that label, and with that identity. And you double it down with a couple hundred years ago women.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it now with women, but even more a couple hundred years ago with women. And I think that it just it automatically lends itself to a fierceness that usually you get out of rebellion stories, and I think that's what's beautiful about. I mean, the only one of the movies that we have on the slate here that I haven't seen is next week's, which is queer.
Okay. Yeah.
I've seen Moonlight. I saw the TV Glow, and I've seen The Handmaiden, and I'm very happy with the slate I've chosen there because they are vastly, vastly different. Even the other lesbian movie, which is The Handmaiden, that's made by a straight guy. That one is directed by a man.
Interesting.
Park Chan-wook, and it's a vastly different movie. I think it's an awesome. I love that movie, but I'll be interested to see if, fresh off of a rewatch of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, if it actually does decrease in quality for me. I watched them probably a year apart, and completely void of context for each other. It will end up being probably the most comparable in terms of subject matter, but it'll be interesting to see how different it is, directed by a man, written by a man, and or co-written by a man. I think that one might have a woman co-writer there, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and that's what we're going to finish the month with. But yeah, so Queer is the only one that I don't have any context for. I don't know exactly how different, how beautiful. I don't know how good that movie is. I have no idea. I'm completely blind next week. But every other movie, we're looking at works of art. I think, and I'm so excited for the coming weeks.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, very much started with quite the art piece. This is I didn't expect. I don't know. I don't want to say that I didn't expect out of Pride Month movies to be good. That's not what I'm saying. But I didn't expect to get this right off the jump, right off first movie in, just boom, we're fucking here, and it was so, I don't know, as beautiful as I could have imagined. So yeah, this I mean, very, very good start. Very nice. Pick me up, got me in the good romantic mood, even though it was tragic. I don't know, even though it was, I knew it was ending myself, kind of like a Rogue One and/or sort of thing. It's like, I know the ends of these characters, but no, it's beautiful for the time being and how they got there and the journey along the way. See, I feel like a hippie, like, or whatever. It's like, it's all love, man, and just more love in the world and fuck, and whatever. But no, it shouldn't be hippie. To just be like, to be a nicer person, or to want to be more loving, to just accept more people. That's kind of it's sad that is seen as
hippy dippy. No, it's and I think that's what I love about. I mean, it's what I love about these movies is that I think we're fresh off. I do think this is going to be my favorite of the next few weeks. So like maybe I started us off on a bit of a high note, but here's the thing. off the top of my head, I like I said, I haven't seen Queer. And this is an uninformed, I haven't rewatched them in a long time. I'm excited to revisit them. We're looking at 4 of the 5 movies here being floor 975. Like I picked 4 movies that I fucking love. You know what I'm saying? Like and I'm very, very happy with it. So and frankly, when I picked Queer, it was more just so that I could cross it off the watch list. I almost picked Brokeback Mountain.
Classic. At least I still haven't seen it, but it seems like a pretty classic.
You absolutely. You should watch it during Pride Month anyway because it's that good. But I just wanted to, and that would have solidified it. All of them would have been 975 or higher. I just really wanted to get the new Luca Guadagnino under my belt, and I wanted to cover it. So that's why we've got Queer next week. But
hell of a way to start it. That is for sure. Even if it is the highest note, I mean, god damn, I mean, yeah, I'm still
and that's the thing is they're all so different. You know,
true.
Like here in a couple weeks, we'll cover Moonlight and I Saw the TV Glow on back-to-back days, and I can't really fathom 2 movies that are more different.
Okay, yeah, I guess I have some bearings for I Saw the TV Glow a little bit, just because it was more, I feel like, recent, and I was in the movie game a lot more. I just know Moonlight for the awards,
fiasco,
prowess, yes, and all of that. So that's it. That is all I know. Even less about Queer. And pretty much the same for The Handmaiden. So yeah, I'm pretty blind going into all of them here. So that's.
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready because you're in for a treat. And you know, we're fresh off of a watch through of Mission Impossible, which is I love that franchise with all of my heart. But what a I don't know, reality check. Coming back to movies, because I love the Mission Impossible franchise, man. But
everything has their vein. But
everything has its place.
Vein.
You know, this is the shit, man. I love Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and it's just all time romance, all time queer romance, and like we've spoke to the romantic part of all the best romance stories. They don't have happy endings, particularly, like the ones that we love. It's
that's true.
A heartbreak is as important as heart fulfillment. I think it's one of those.
You wouldn't have the heartbreak if it wasn't so beautiful in the first place.
Don't smile, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. That whole thing.
It'd be weird if like your dog died and then you were happy. If you weren't heartbroken because but like and to put that on the human level, it's like even more exemplified. So yeah, it's like it's just, man, why life is just too goddamn, like, why can't we all just fucking have no rules? Why can't we all just love each other, man? Fucking grow food, feed everybody, and then live, just live. That's it.
I actually rewatched, we're talking about Queer next week, so I'll give you this little tidbit. I rewatched Challengers recently, Pride Month approaching and everything. No movie makes me feel more gay. I'm like, man, Josh O'Connor and Mike Faced, I really, really like you. I really like you in this movie. I wish I was the 4th player on that bed there. There's I reviewed that movie on Letterboxd, and movies that I've rewatched frequently, I don't put a ton of effort into my reviews or anything. So all I said on that one was, what if we all just fucked? What then?
Yeah. What then? Well, that is what we used to do, actually, as humans.
Yeah, I know. What if we all just fucked? What then?
All the time. And then you knew who it worked well with, and then you knew who it didn't work.
They did that shit and they're like, let's build the Parthenon. Yep. Let's get it going, huh?
Let's actually build a building it's not the Parthenon, but a building almost as grand for just fucking. We will build a grand open building just for orgies and taking that, we all bathe together. I mean, maybe that was just practical. I don't know. It feels like, man, was I born in the wrong era? No, probably not.
No,
it's like,
but
but man, what it would be like to I don't know.
If we could take the best parts of every era in the history of the world and negate all of the worst parts in all the worst, like Utopia would be ideal.
Yeah. I mean, the Greek and Spartan outfits, like they I don't know, they had that.
Were cooking.
Like
they were
it's
cooking.
like they got it. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's and then this time, I don't know. This time period, it feels like they're more covered up than anything, but still,
God, it's gorgeous. Though.
It has its own
still
look.
beautiful.
Yeah, every era,
I love the fashion, and I love another one of my favorite details is Marianne's hair. And Marianne as a character generally is very, very fascinating. The idea that she is, she's seemingly an only child, I would guess. She doesn't have the. She doesn't have anything tying her to home, really. She's obviously been raised with a lot of autonomy. Her dad embraces her freedom quite a bit more than Eloise has the privilege of being. You know, whenever Marianne jumps off the boat, arrives at the castle, goes to her room, strips naked, and smokes in front of the fire. Like that's some free. That's freedom, right? That's also nice. French as fuck, but it's so free. And then immediately after being like, I'm hungry, I'm going down to the kitchen and grabbing food. You know, like that's that's real shit. You know, she's like, got any bread? I got bread, wine, and cheese. I'm good. Again, so French.
Yeah, man, what a lot. Yeah, but I guess her dad was an artist or a painter, so maybe
dad was a painter.
Just he's a lover. He gets it. He's got love in the life. I hope at least. I guess I don't know. We don't. It is kind of nice.
Well, it's just it just reminds me of how antithetical. Like, can you imagine being a conservative artist?
That's true. That's crazy. I could see doing it for the greed or just doing it for the money, but then you still have to have like the talent, which seems
you still got to have something in you,
like a love,
you know that
So it's
there's just something so inherently
gay,
gay, queer. Like there's something just loving, and accepting, and just embracing the world around you about art. You know, like there's to filter anything through that lens. Is inherently loving. So I just think that it's fascinating that there does exist a homophobic artists, racist artists. Like that's how could you possibly operate that way? What are you betraying within yourself to think that way? I don't know. It's fascinating. And that's why I think that
all art is art.
This is a beautiful slate of movies. Even the fucking Nazis made movies, you know, like they made propaganda films. Like that's true. That's crazy, you know, like that's insane. John Wayne was notoriously racist, and he was an actor, you know, like it's so fascinating to think about who used to be famous for doing things that like are viewed as, you know,
that's the role model queer. For the time, or like,
you know, like it's fascinating. It kind of melts my mind to think about the way that we've evolved, the way we've backslid, the way we've moved forward, just like the dichotomy of everything that has occurred and how everything can be so contradictory and still make so much sense. It's bizarre.
It's that. How is the straight? Like it seems like I don't know, if you're straight there's less love, or if you to add up all the love in the world, straight love, even though there's probably more straight couples in the world, less love total, I feel. I don't know,
right? And that's the thing, is how do you quantify something like that? But there's a
genuine nature to it. I don't know, where there's this
like I said earlier about queer stories in general, they're inherently revolutionary. There's an inherent defiance and an inherent forbiddenness, and in that, loving against the odds is almost you're fighting something to love, and that's why
easy. And
straight love is relatively easy. True. You know, like it's still love, but like it's
but it's allowed, or
there's nobody trying to tear you apart. There's nobody who looks at you and goes, "Oh," you know, like you know, there's you never have to deal with that, and it's something that, again, that's why queer stories are so important. That's why representation is so important, and telling stories about people and taking in stories about people who you will never know, and And that's why I love like one of a funny thing that happened recently on Letterboxd, and I'm sure if you dove into my Letterboxd you'd be able to figure out who I'm talking about. But as a rule of thumb, I don't follow minors on anything. You know, just if you're younger than 18,
yep,
you can follow me if you want. I don't post anything that's like ridiculous. You know, I don't post anything that's like ridiculously raunchy or anything. So fuck it. You can follow me. I'm not going to follow you though. You know, you're 15. But somebody liked one of my reviews, and then followed me immediately after. And whenever that happens, I always go ahead and check out the profile. And it was like a 15-year-old. Here's my favorite artists. Here's my favorite actors, directors. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good list. You know, good for them. And then it was like the bottom of their bio was things I won't watch.
Whoa. Interesting.
And I was like, I was like, I already don't like that. You know, just principally things I won't watch. One, porn. Okay.
Fair, I guess. Okay.
Fair.
Valid.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Two, LGBTQ. And I was like, well, now you're getting blocked. You know, like, I was like, well, now you're getting blocked. You know, like you to write off an entire sect of stories.
That's crazy.
That's not a genre.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a type of movie. That is something that happens in movies. I was like, what do you... do you look up every movie you're about to watch and go, is there something gay in this?
Yeah.
Like, what's your deal, kid?
Yeah.
You know, like,
No,
and you know, like, you'll figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, they'll figure that out. I hope they do. They're 15.
That's fair.
You know, like that's a child.
Still,
you know, that's a child. You know, so you know, and typically whenever something like that happens, you might be dealing with something a little bit more on the personal side.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe a self-reflection journey is needed.
Uniquely possible.
Okay.
Uniquely possible. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's uniquely possible. You know, and so like it was just one of those things where I'm like, at least you're 15 and you have time to figure that out. Yeah. You know, I have a tough time imagining being an adult. Like I have, and they'll never listen to this or watch this anyway because they don't watch gay movies. I have a friend who is uncomfortable watching movies like this.
Yeah.
Because two girls kissing. And I'm like,
yeah. Kind of just grow up. I don't know. Like I don't
know.
Yeah, it is a weird, and it's because I think this way, and it's like I don't want to force my thinking upon others, but this is just an area
but that's the thing is that it's not.
It's
just so natural. It's ridiculous. It's one of those things where I'm like, and that's where nuance comes into play in everything. You know, like because I love this person. They are incredibly loving. They accept me unabashedly. Sure. You know, like that's not something that I've ever had to worry about. They accept our other gay friends unabashedly. And they love them. They possess no ill will in their heart towards them, which is fascinating. You know, I'm like, I don't know how you can
Yeah.
That's why nobody deals in absolutes, and I think it's interesting that way. But I don't know. Just that's other subjects. But
Anakin does as one who
and Anakin Skywalker does deal in absolutes.
Had to be taken care of.
Then I will do what I must, which is ironically also an absolute. But
that's true. God damn it, Obi-Wan. Yeah, why'd you have to go be so hypocritical? But
yeah,
I don't know. It takes one.
Yeah.
Now we're in Star Wars, so yeah. Now there we go. But
it's a
great thing.
But everyone in Star Wars is gay, also, so it applies.
That's true. And getting gayer over time, you know, and more loving and better. Crazy. It's
better.
Look at that.
It's just getting better and better, baby.
And this movie had a lot of love, a lot of art, and that's it's all about art. I didn't realize how meta
they go hand in hand, man. Art and love go hand, like it's just is. I don't know, and that's why I adore. One of my favorite shots is whenever we've talked about this in relation to a few actors and actresses. Kate Winslet in the Titanic, Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca. Adele Haenel is one of those actresses in this movie. The way Celine Sciamma shoots Eloise is the most beautiful anybody's ever looked ever, you know? And it's because we are looking at her through the painter's gaze, who is falling in love with her. And so she becomes the most beautiful. The most beautiful Marianne is in this entire movie is when they flip the camera and they show her painting
Yeah.
from Eloise's perspective. That is the most breathtaking Marianne is in the entire movie.
Man.
And I think that's beautiful. And
Heloise had some Kate Winslet, like from Titanic,
very, very
kind
much
of.
so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there were some times where I'm like, damn, like yeah, you have that. Like I don't know, the camera loves you too, sort of thing. And yeah, it worked really well. And yeah, to hear like how casting the painter for, it seems like this was just made with so much care and so much thought and much, like it was so personal. This wasn't a I don't know, not a cash grab whatsoever. Like there's no cash grab, there's no greed, there's no anything. If anything, it's anti-greed, or not really. It doesn't dive into that too much, but just the male, I don't know, just the male oppression, all the other things. It feels like the movie's kind of like, see what happens when all of that stuff is just null and void. See, whenever, I don't know, it is kind of a forbidden love, so it does feel like it. I know it feels it a little more, but it's like, no, they're just finally allowed to be free once all the men are gone, and the only woman that was kind of a man is gone out of the house. And yeah, it was not what I expected whatsoever. That's for sure. My head was, I didn't know what the movie was quite gonna be. I was thinking horror at the beginning, or something of like, yeah, you will never see her, and the other painter mysteriously disappeared, or whatever, and I'm like, what the
and there's
fuck?
that air. There's again, there's no non-diegetic music, so it's eerily silent. Like you're dealing with a lot of stuff. It's dark. There's and that was another beautiful choice, is shooting on digital, shooting digitally so that everything appears more matte, like a painting, and also you're able to capture more light in sheer darkness. With digital than you are on film. So that's, but another thing that made it really interesting, and rewatching it with this lens will be interesting, is that they're dealing with such high rates of exposure and stuff, and all this natural lighting and everything, that they're very, very carefully choreographed, because if they move at all one way or another, they will slip out of focus.
I see. Yeah.
So like they are always very, very careful about the way they move in the scene, which also works in their hesitation to kind of give in, which is really fascinating. They're all very timid and careful, and I adore it. I love it, man. It's
man,
God, a beautiful, beautiful movie. One that I will, I hadn't watched this in a while. It was one of those ones I was letting breathe, and now it's going to be one that I revisit with a certain regularity. But yeah, I think I'll do the plugs, and then we can rate this thing, and then we can get out of here. So if you would, leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. You can find the Cinementalists on YouTube if you're interested in that sort of thing. We don't have video back up yet. We're hoping to here before long. I'm not making any promises there, but sooner the better. But probably who knows? We'll figure it out. Because even if Joe gets his side of things figured out, I have no idea how the fuck my laptop is going to manage all this shit. So yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of stuff. We'll eventually we'll figure it out. We'll eventually get back to having video, and when we do, it'll be on YouTube. But in the meantime, we are available over there. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe, that'd be lovely. Follow wherever you're listening and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave that review no matter what. We are currently doing Fire Pod with Me, a Twin Peaks podcast, which is friendly to the first-time viewer and the rewatcher alike. You have to have seen up to the point we are covering. If you're just like, oh, spoiler-free completely, hell yeah. No, not quite. That would be asinine for a show that's been out as long as it has. No, you got to watch Twin Peaks anyway. It's kind of just a caveat. We also have a podcast about Twin Peaks, but you should just watch Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Everyone.
So Fire Pod with Me, a Twin Peaks podcast, and then the last one is Geek with Me. Geek with Me is a lot of fun. It's our nerd shit podcast. It was Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast, but we decided to expand it beyond Star Wars into the comic book stuff, fantasy stuff, whether that's books or movies or shows or whatever. We got a lot to look forward to. Doctor Who just wrapped up, so I went ahead and did a little segment on that on our most recent edition of it. So you're gonna have to listen to that. Geek with Me. Go ahead and check it out. Also available on YouTube. But yeah, let's see. We'll be back next week with Queer, directed by Luca Guadagnino. it's going to be a lot of fun. That one's written by Justin Kuritsky, who also did Challengers. So there's a lot of overlap with the Challengers team there. Same cinematographers, Sayam Mukti same score team by Resner and Ross. It's I'm excited for it. So we got Queer next week. And then Moonlight, and I saw the TV Glow the week after that, and then The Handmaiden. So we got a fun, great slate of movies for Pride Month. We're only going to be a little devastated at the end of all of them.
Yeah, it's it wouldn't be gay without having the realization that it still sucks to be gay. Or like it's still hard.
Well, it's still hard.
It doesn't suck to be gay. I don't want to say that.
No. There's pride to be taken. That's the point of the month. There's pride.
It's actually good.
It is good. It is good. But there is there's the
societal suck right now.
The societal side of things will for now is a little rough. So there's always going to be that layer of. We're going to deal with it in Moonlight. We're going to deal with it in I Saw the TV Glow and The Handmaiden as well. But
maybe one day.
And I imagine Queer also, because Queer is based on a book by William S. Burroughs, who is notoriously not a particularly happy author. So, got that to look forward to. So,
well, I don't know. We are here, and
we are here.
I hope that one day this goes away, and all of this worry.
It will.
Whatever.
You got to have faith. It
must.
will.
It must. One day it will.
One day it will. That's the solace I'll take. But
our lifetime, even. Yeah. Actually, crazy enough, it will. That's maybe a little too optimistic there, but
no, I think it's you got to have optimism. You got to have hope. Here we go. Let's rate this movie, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. What do we?
Well, goddamn. I mean. How do you?
I mean, it's a 10.
I mean, yeah,
it's a 10. It's a 10 for me.
Talking about it more solidified it. Like I'm like, it's getting more beautiful. It is like a fine wine, and I have only seen it once, and it's like, yeah, I'm itching to go back. That's for sure. So
it's one of those 10s that kind of like makes me recontextualize every 10 we've ever given. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's see. Going back up.
I'm like Fallout would have been the most recent, and the Holdovers would have been the one before that, and the Fellowship of the Ring.
Fellowship.
Those are the.
Yeah, I mean, they all just have their own vein.
They have their own version of it. They have their own version of it, And I didn't genuinely mean like, oh, it changes. No, it doesn't. But like, I have that whenever I give my 5-star, because I only do 5-star ratings on Letterboxd now. If I don't think it's a 5-star, I don't rate it. And this is an easy 5-star on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I've gotten so used to just not even putting stars at all. I've joined you in that, but I think what it's done for me is I just forget. I just don't even put stars on movies. I guess right. Interstellar. That's just already been a 5. But yeah, like even I guess the first 5 that I actually gave was Deja Vu, which is that really a 5-star movie? No, not even close compared to this.
And that's what's so funny is that like
remote.
What was the one I watched recently? I watched a movie called Cleo from 5 to 7. Incredible. I sent you a couple images from it. And when I did watch it, I immediately went back to a movie I'd watched a couple days earlier and removed its 5-star rating.
Dang. Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I don't know why the fuck I gave that a 5. This is a 5. This is what a 5 looks like, it's one of those things that's
time, it was a 5 right after the it's
fresh off. I was like, but the way a movie ages for you is every bit as important. There are movies that I didn't give a 5 initially that I kind of feel like I should go back and give a 5 because of the way it's sitting with me, and that's art is like that. It's just going to resonate with you in different ways at different times, and it's going to age and it's going to change. And that's why I love going to the art museum at least once a year. Going back, I'll see plenty of the same pieces, and I will see something. This last time I went, there were things that I saw that I didn't know if I've seen it before. I was like,
yeah.
Did I see this last year? I don't know that I did. I can't. I might have though, but something else stood out to me that day. But today this one's sitting with me, and I think that's kind of beautiful.
Damn.
I love that. So.
Yeah, I need to go. I need desperately.
Yeah. Next time you come back to Kansas City, we'll have to hit it up. But
that is for sure.
I love Nelson Atkins Art Museum, but
But yeah, we got a tenor. That's for sure. Starting off, I think what it boils down to is just like, yeah, they're firing on every category that movies fire on. Like, there's not one thing you can really point to. It's written well. It is shot well. It's performed well. It gets me to cry. It resonates. It's about love, and there's even revolutionary spirit in there, and I didn't even know it. So yeah, it's
right.
Yeah,
didn't even fully realize that. Yeah, no, and well, that's what's crazy too is that when it comes to Neon produced films in 2019, it's funny to kind of go, well, yeah, on paper, should this probably be like an Oscar winner?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, probably. Wasn't even nominated for an Oscar.
What? Was it just that strong of a fucking year, or like?
You know what movie came out that year that was a foreign film that also won Best Picture and was also produced by Neon is Parasite.
Okay. Well, damn.
Yeah. No, so that's what's fascinating is that like there's just such a broad and so I'm assuming, I mean, maybe France didn't even get a nominee that year. I'm like, I have to imagine this would have been their submission because every country gets like one submission.
Dang. Yeah. What a year then. Yeah. This is I don't know. We were cooking on something in 2019. Yeah, this is crazy to not get. I thought for sure. I didn't even look at the awards or anything on IMDb for this. I just thought, well, it must have won something, or I don't know. It must have gotten some nomination. That's crazy.
Yeah, Bong Joon-ho had quite the year.
Damn, that is.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the foreign film nominees were that year, because that's the one I'm the most international film nominees were Parasite, Corpus Christi, Honeyland, Les Mis would have been a more recent version of Les Mis, which was France, and then Pain and Glory. I wonder if that was a restoration of an old version of Les Mis, and that's why it got in there. No, it wasn't. It would have been the 2019 film Les Miserables.
I blame
fascinating
men for some reason that didn't allow this one to get in. It's the page. It is all what the movie's speaking to. They didn't want this one in because it was
They didn't want to see it win. No, but no, fascinating. I'm fascinated by the fact that there was another French film that was nominated that year. So I'll actually have to check out that version of Les Miserables. It'll be that'll be one that I have to get to. But regardless, blows my mind that this isn't. I mean, like, it feels like one of the most beautiful movies I've ever watched in my life. So, like, I adore it. I can't wait to revisit it, and I can't wait to keep pushing forth with our Pride Month project here. But I think with that, we can conclude this episode of The Cinementalists, and we'll be back next week with Luca Guadagnino's 2024 film, Queer. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, homie.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, do all lovers feel they're inventing something?